Hello and welcome. This is the Business Brand Podcast, the podcast that gets to celebrate the positive impact that businesses have on their community. My name is Brandon with Be True Media, and today we have Duncan Boyle on the show, and we get to talk about something that I'm pretty excited to have a chat about. So Duncan is putting together a team. He is trying to collaborate with fellow business owners to create, I guess you'd call it a turnkey solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So real quick, what would turnkey mean for someone who may not be familiar with that term?
Yeah, so as basically where it's just plug and play. So when people are wanting to learn whatever it is, and for me particularly, it's going to be surrounding real estate investing. And so part of what I do can help really hypercharge or, help put plans together for people. And so being able to provide a turnkey solution in the real estate world is what we're trying to do, or what I'm trying to help accomplish for them. So
yeah, and to clarify, Duncan is with Texas Independent Insurance.
Correct.
And yeah, really what I wanted to dive into is what it means to collaborate with other business owners. There's a difference between employing someone and collaborating with other business owners. If you employ someone, you're kind of finding people who are going to be on board with your vision, where you want to take this certain sort of value that you want to create. With collaborating, you have other people who already have their idea of what they want to do, and so it's a little bit of a different dynamic. We have to try and figure out what we can do to all be on the same track as far as where we want to go. So I'm really excited to talk to Duncan about that, what his thoughts are on how he's going to tackle that. I'll introduce Duncan a little bit better as far as some of his background. So he's always had a background in serving customers. That's always been sort of your passion, right, Duncan?
Correct, yeah.
And so he kind of went full circle back into the serving customers through insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And so his mission is to protect people's financial legacy. So real quick, what does financial legacy mean?
Yeah, so being an independent agent, so I cover a couple of different grounds. One, on the P&C world, so that would be just your standard home, auto, and then we do commercial as well. But in the real estate world, it's kind of a target of ours, or we do a lot of real estate investing, insurance, but we also do a lot of life insurance. And so protecting the legacy is, there can be a lot of things, right, in life that can come your way, whether it be, as recently here in Dallas with the tornadoes, being in the P&C world, people were directly impacted by that and needing to have their homes rebuilt, things of that nature. So that's helping protect that financial legacy. Also, when things like that happen, they tend to have to, if they're not protected correctly, they've got to tie into their own pocket. And so, and then on the life side, we kind of bring it full circle. And so if something does happen to you, that your heirs are taken care of and your family's taken care of. And it goes beyond that in some way, but that's really what we do. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish, is because we're all here, and as you get older, you start thinking more legacy. And that's what I'm here to do, is I'm help to protect people's, not only, I can't really help protect their personal legacy and who they're acting. I'm here to help protect that financial side. And so that's because that's what I can control. Yeah.
And you kind of have some skin in that game too, because your family is 6. You have
Yes.
4 kids and a wife.
That's correct.
Yeah. So that's probably, that probably hits home for you too.
Yeah,
just protecting
absolutely.
that side of your life too. Well,
yeah. If you've ever had a situation where, if you've had family members or whoever where somebody has died and there hasn't been that protection, not only are they grieving, their grieving widow or grieving widower, they're also broke. And so, and that's a tough situation for people to be in. So all that to say, whenever crisis happens, that's what insurance is for. It's there to help transfer risk. And so, yeah, that's my mission.
I feel like a lot of people forget about that. I think there's sort of this negative stigma against insurance, that they're just trying to sell you something that you don't need. Yeah. And, so what would you say to people who have that negative stigma to insurance? Because real quick,
Hmm.
I've had negative experience with an insurance agent that I tried to network with.
Yeah.
They said that, oh yeah, we'll sit you down, we'll have a 20-minute conversation, and then you can tell me a little bit about your business too. You can have your 20 minutes, and we'll just talk about it, how we can help each other out. Well, that whole conversation felt like they're just they're holding me hostage, because that turned into an
Yeah.
hour conversation, and by the time that I wanted to say something, I was just so tired, just like, this is what I do, cool. But I don't know, I just didn't have a good experience. But I had a good experience talking with you. It felt like I was actually being educated. So
Yeah.
what would you say to people who have this negative look on insurance agents?
Well, one, I think, you know, here's what I say, even about carriers, right? Because some people say, well, I've heard some bad things about that carrier, or I've heard some bad things about that person. I think it does, like you said, it does more to, it's more about the person than it is actually what they do. Do they care about you, or are they just there to sell a product? Ultimately, I think most of us in anything we do, we're all selling something, whether it be selling yourself, whether it be selling a service, whether it be, I mean, if you're in a nonprofit, what are you trying to do? You're trying to sell, getting money to you to help benefit whoever you're trying to benefit. So, all that to say, people who have a negative stigma about insurance, it's like, one, what are you trying to accomplish? And if you are there about protection, then, let's customize a plan for that. If you are there to, help more focus on the retirement side and have a kind of a tax-free type environment, then we can help customize a plan for that. And so it's not necessarily about what products I have to sell. I'm really focused on, hey, what's your end game?
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to accomplish? And then from that, hey, let's see if what I have to offer will come alongside and complement that plan versus not complement that plan. Because I've actually met with a number of people that I'm like, you know what, I don't know if what I have is best suited for you. Had that conversation actually not too long ago. I was like, but I would love to come alongside if it does complement you. But if it doesn't, hey, it's all good. So, but I think a lot of people are uneducated about what it is. They just see it as a bill, and that's not necessarily what it is. It really is there to, um, you know, protect you for those worst case scenarios. I mean, I bet if you go down that, mile and a half or 5 mile line of tornado homes that were hit, they're all going to be pretty happy if they had insurance and good insurance versus the people that didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, what would you kind of say to people? What are the red flags for something that someone should run away from when it comes to an insurance agent? Like, how could I have had that? How could I have seen some red flags with the person that I was about to have a conversation with?
Well, I think, and I've come across people in other industries, no matter what it is, health and beauty, where they're selling. I've come across people who are extremely good. They want to hear your story. They want to know what your struggles are, and then they present. And then I've come across other people that it is sell, 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 and what I call commission breath. They come at you and they've got commission breath.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what industry you're in. I think you will come across people that do that. So it's not just, again, I don't think it's necessarily industry specific. It's person specific. But how can you overcome that? I've I've actually confronted somebody one time and said, "Hey, look, I am not here to be sold right now. Just so you know, I'm here to get to know you. Are you, as you know, we're both a part of a networking group called Master Networks. And what do they teach? They teach how to have those interactions. And what does it start off with? It starts off with build on common interest. And a lot of times people jump all the way to the end, which is, opportunity, and or trying to just sell, sell, sell. And so for me, I'm always trying to get to know that person. Sometimes that you can get through that pretty quick, and other times it may take a few meetings for you to get to the point where, hey, you know what, something I have actually may complement whatever your goals are trying to accomplish. So
Yeah.
that's the approach that I take. Is I'm just like, hey, let's back off. I want to know about you, because I'm not buying your product. I'm buying you. That's what I'm interested in. Who am I doing business with? Because these days, I mean, there are multiple ways to skin a cat in the insurance world, like in home and auto insurance. How many carriers are there? There are a ton of them. and it's all pretty similar. It's not exactly similar, but it's all pretty similar. But who's the agent behind that? Are they educating you correctly? That kind of thing. So that's what I want to be known as somebody who's going to be an educator. And then when I'm, if I was, you know, as I start working with you and things of that nature, I'm not interested in so much of what you can do, but more about who you are and what's the heart behind it, because I know that you're going to accomplish those goals if that's your heart. If that
So
makes sense.
basically, what I got out of that right there was it's not so much what I sell, it's about why I'm doing it. Because
Correct.
that
And who you
really,
are.
yeah, that really does flavor what our intentions are, it sounds like. And really,
Yeah.
because if we have good intentions, we're really trying to find the best value for someone. And that
Yeah.
sounds like you're trying to provide value
Yeah.
by
Absolutely.
actually collaborating with these these business owners that you're trying to search out for. So kind of give me some context. Why are you trying to build up this collaboration with these other businesses?
So, as an agency, like I said from the beginning, we are, when I say an ideal client, I mean, obviously there are a lot of different ideal clients. But for us as an agency, we do a lot of work with real estate investors. And because of that, because we are in that circle, we are trying to, we have a product and a service available that can really hypercharge their real estate investing. And a lot of real estate investors get into it because, one, they don't like the market, right? They're scared of the market. They're scared of not being in control, and they want to get something that is going to appreciate, that is going to have cash flow. So it's not just something, hey, I put money in to hopefully get something later. No, they want cash now that also appreciates. And so with that mindset and with those type of people who are trying to become financially free, and what I mean by financial freedom is where your expenses are less than your income, your cash flow. So we have a product that really complements that. And in addition, so many real estate investors out there. There's a lot of people who want to get involved, and they have to go to all these different places, and so they're not always getting all the information at one place. So what I'm looking to build this year is a team of vendors that I trust, that that are going to be able to be kind of a one-stop. So we're going to be a one solution for real estate investors, new or maybe even seasoned. But so I want to create a team that's going to be able to serve in every aspect of it. That way, when people come to me, I can be like, yes, I have a solution for you. Here it is. Boom. And it's just turnkey for them. So there's not a lot of, I've got to make 5 phone calls, or, I've got to meet all these different people. They're going to be people that we trust, that we know does good work, that has the same values that we do. And then, by working together, all of us are benefiting. So that's really what I'm trying to build this year.
So it really sounds like you're trying to make it as easy as possible for
Absolutely.
people to
Absolutely.
invest in real estate, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, because there's a lot of education out there, and it's all very good, but a lot of times they don't walk them through that step-by-step process. And so, trying to create that group and create that solution for them.
So do you already have people in mind for who you're going to bring on board?
I do, and I'm in the process now of really, casting that vision to see if that's something they want to join in on. And then also kind of in the interview process of making sure that we've got the right vendors in place that are knowledgeable, that, again, have that vision and understand what we're trying to accomplish. So
to kind of put into context, I haven't had really good experiences with trying to collaborate with people. When people think of, oh, you're a commercial videographer, they I guess they find value in video, and so what they want to do is they want to be able to, well, I want to be able to offer that to my clients as well. And so maybe what we can do is we can find collaboration, some kind of collaboration setup to where we can do this and then this happens. But I'm not exactly sure what we should do to make that work. And so I really wanted an environment, or I really wanted someone to be able to collaborate with me who knew what they were doing. So I'm guessing, like, do you know what that collaboration is going to look like? Because I want to know. I want to know what a good collaboration would look like, so I can better work with other people. Because it's not like I don't want to. It's just there has not been an easy way for me to understand what a successful collaboration would look like.
Yeah, no, totally. And you and I were kind of, when we were talking before we kind of, I guess, officially got on air. Um, that is the challenge, right? Being able to provide value that, one, you're not the only one providing value or the only one receiving value. You've got to,
That's the hard part, because I feel like
right?
people are just, I feel like I have a very big value based mindset where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what can I do to provide the most value for my clients? The problem
Mhm.
is, yes, people are people want to provide value for the clients, but not everybody has that same mindset of, I'm going to break down, okay, so if I do this, this is going to happen, so I can understand what the value of what I'm doing is going to be, like the actual monetary value. Some other
Mhm.
person, like let's say like a website designer, they might create a website to say, oh, well, you need to have a place where people can go, and that's valuable. Well, I would want to know, does that website convert people? Does that website is it clear enough for people? Can you see the actual impact that it's having on businesses versus the theoretical? And I feel like a lot of people who have these conversations with me, it's a lot of theoretical. And so it
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily align with what I'm trying to do. So that's my difficulty with it, is finding, okay, how are you providing value that I can also be on board with as well. So I don't know if
Right.
that is kind of similar to what you're thinking as well.
No, so yes, to an extent. I think what you do in the marketing world, I heard this said once, it's hard in the marketing realm or advertising realm. It is really hard to quantify. All you can see is uptick. Once upon a time in a different industry, we paid for radio ads. But we'd always ask people when they'd come into our store, we'd be like, hey, how'd you hear about us? Oh, I saw you on TV. We were not running a TV ad.
Mm-hmm.
But and so it's not an exact science. At least that's what a lot of, like you said, a lot of people in your sphere, it's all very theoretical. However, you do see an uptick in business. That's the only thing you can quantify is, when I did this, X amount of months happened, and then I saw a volume increase year over year. What's the exact cause? It's tough to say. So that's where I think in your world, that is hard to, it's hard to quantify from a dollar perspective. Um, from my perspective, it would be easier for us to quantify the value in that you're talking real estate deals. And so if somebody buys real estate, there's a buying price, there's a selling price if they flip it, or if they rent it out, there's a spread on what they bought. And so depending on the education and all that, we're measured by how successful was our first deal, how successful was our second deal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's where it's really, that's easily quantifiable. For me, when I'm thinking about how do I collaborate with people where they want to be involved with my business, and I want to be involved in their business. I'm thinking about what value can I bring them? Like, what business monetary value? Again, obviously, I think the interviewing process, when it comes to picking your team, you've got to understand that they have kind of have a servant's heart or an educator's heart behind them, because that's what I'm about, educating people as much as possible. A lot of people don't want to know about insurance. That's why they call me or they call their agent. But being able to teach people correctly. So if they have that kind of heart, and then I believe in what the product that they have available, that's my criteria first on bringing them in. Now, once we have the team set up, how do we all benefit in this? And I think it's like, let's say I was brand new and I have no basis, I have no customer base to bring them, then I'm the one reaping the benefits, right,
Mm-hmm.
of all of their leads. Or if it's the other way around, if I've got somebody who's brand new and they don't have a big book of business, well, what are they bringing me? Well, they may be bringing me their expertise, but they're not necessarily bringing client base. So that's where the collaboration is, trying to bring people in. One, that adds value. Two, there's another way you can do it, is if you bring a collaboration and you're trying to get some financial incentive, can also pay for that. So as an example, if somebody's licensed in insurance, I can share a part of the deal if I need to. I know real estate agents, or investors that if you bring them a deal, they're going to compensate you for it. So there's a lot of different ways you can collaborate, or there's a lot of different ways to make that monetarily work. Um, but in regards to, I think for me in finding that group, it's more about, do they have the knowledge? Do they have the desire to serve people? And does their product, accomplish what it's intended to accomplish? And so if you have that in place, and then if they have the same mindset of, hey, let's build something that is turnkey, that is easy to where we're all working together, then it works out brilliantly. So I don't know if that made any sense, or if I went on a tangent, but
I mean, basically what I got from that is it has to be 50-50. And to get 50-50 to that point, people have to want to provide value first. Like, it's not, I'm going to go use you because I want you to provide value to me. I'm going to see how I can provide value to you because I know that eventually you can provide value to me. Does that kind of make sense?
yeah, and I would actually, to anyone who's married out there watching this, that, right, it's supposed to be 50-50, but it's more like you're supposed to be giving more, and if each of you are trying to give more, then it equals out. I think the same is true in this, right? There's going to be a time where I'm going to be being given more than I'm giving, but then there's going to come a time where I'm giving more than I'm getting. So 50-50, I think hopefully it balances out to that. But if you have the heart of giving, that will become reciprocal at some point. And so that's the mindset that I have, and the mindset that, again, of the people that I'm hoping to build that team with. I want their heart to be that as well. I want their heart to be, let's give, and eventually it's all going to pay off. Because again, in the real estate, and that's the whole reason to have that turnkey, is if you plug somebody in, they're going to need some member of that team at some point. And that's why we're kind of going that route. Just because I am exposed to a lot of people in that world, and we get asked questions all the time. How do I do this? How do I do this? And so, and I have people that I can send them out to, and I do. But it would be really cool if we had, or my idea is to have that all kind of in-house, not necessarily singularly branded, but almost like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for like you.
Oh, go for it.
Go ahead.
No, I want to hear what you're saying. Yeah,
I was going to say, for like you, for someone like you, right? You want somebody who wants videography. Well, what if they are wanting somebody to say, hey, look, I'm a new business, or I'm an existing business, and I'm looking to transform my marketing and my advertising department. And you're like, well, great, man, I've got solutions. And and I'll tell you a story. Once upon a time, I had somebody call me, and they're like, hey, do you do health insurance? And I personally do not, but I said, yes, I do. And and I called a buddy of mine, and I was like, look, I've got somebody who needs health insurance for a company, and you're my guy. And so we went together, and I let them know that, hey, this is who I refer all of my health deals to, and he is my right hand when it comes to this. And I went along with it as if I did it, even though they knew we were separate companies. But that's my mindset when I have this collaboration is, do I do something? Absolutely. I can help be that solution for you, even though I personally may not be doing it. And so in your world, I kind of see that as a potential, right? Somebody's like, I need videography. Okay, great. I'll handle that for you. And then while you're talking to them, other things come out. Well, man, I've got solutions for you. May not be Brandon, Be True Media, but it may be, so-and-so SEO or, website building, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I don't mean to correct you or anything, but I'm not necessarily a video marketing agency, a video branding agency, which is different. That's the thing though. So many people think they automatically go, oh, video, that means marketing, that means they're bringing leads in. Specifically, what I do is help the companies connect better with their customers, so that way when they do bring in leads, they're converting those leads. So it feels right to do business, like understanding the passion behind why a business is in business, understanding that motivation, being clear with what it is that they sell, how they're different, all that fun stuff. So just to clarify that.
I think I was more putting marketing as, I think that falls into the marketing.
It
It's just
does.
a
It does.
marketing to a different marketing in general. Most people think, oh, I'm there to get new clients, and you're like, no, I'm here to convert people that are already warm and or existing, making them better.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
and I love what you do. It's great.
Yeah, it's focusing on providing value to your customers so that way
Yeah,
they feel it. It's not,
yeah,
they don't
absolutely.
feel like they're being sold to. But anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent. But
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Help me. I
yeah.
need help.
Yeah. But when it comes to developing this team,
Hmm.
what's probably the most difficult part of that?
So I think, as I go on and if I've been interviewing people, one, I have a lot of relationships in this world, and so finding the picking and choosing them between them is going to be difficult. So that'll be one. But I think more so is once we've identified, hey, we really want to collaborate with you, is casting the vision and having them jump onto that.
Hmm.
I have a very specific vision of what I want to accomplish with it, and I'm not sure everybody's going to buy into that vision 100%. They may buy into a portion of it. So how do we cast the vision where we all kind of, I have a vision, and then when they're like, oh, that's a great idea, but what about this? All of us coming together and molding those visions to where now it is a complete vision and where we accomplish all the goals that we set forth. So I think that'll probably be the greatest challenge. In selection, like I referenced, I think selection is going to be
So
difficult.
are you kind of going into this with the mindset of, I have my vision. I know that there's going to be other people that might have a similar vision, but there might be some tension. There isn't going to be a group of people who have the same exact mindset as me, and we're all going to be able to work together really smoothly from the get-go. What's your whole thought process on how do we get everybody on the same boat so that way people don't have these different mindsets that they're going into, and it
Yeah,
pulls people
yeah.
in different directions?
So one, kind of the step by step of how I want to approach this, or how I am approaching this, I guess I should say, is one, I'm going to these people individually and saying, hey, here's an idea. This is what I want to do. You know, what does it sound like to you? And then if they're like, man, that sounds really good, and they kind of express interest, and once I get the team together, in essence, or I could even go to them and say, hey, who would you recommend for this aspect of it? Then when we get the group together, if I'm the one who kind of started this whole thing, I would say, hey, here is where kind of my early vision of what this is to be. But if this is going to be a collaboration, I want everybody's I want everybody's interest or everybody's input, and for this to be a unified thing. And then we just talk it out, and then it becomes everybody's vision and not mine. So I don't want this to be about, here's my vision, Duncan Boyle's agenda, and this is what it's going to be. No, I think you've got to have a different approach of, hey, this is kind of where I see it going. This is my vision, but obviously I'm one piece of it, and I would want to see what your piece is, and let's see if they are aligned, and then how do we need to tweak it to where it's not taken away from my core values or my vision, but just more building to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I find that interesting because I've had a couple people come to me and say, "Hey, I want to do a collaboration. I have a very rough idea of what I want to do. I don't know if I have the wrong mindset here when it comes to, well, I just wish that they had a little bit more of a plan than let's spend one day a week every week to discuss what we're going to do with this."
Yeah.
And even when I ask them, like, what do you think you would want to accomplish, it's just, I want a collaboration, and I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I want to see. So I don't know how. I like your thought process in the idea of, well, if we don't all have a solid understanding of what we want to do, we can all talk it out and come up with something that we're all on board with versus
Hmm.
someone's concrete vision of what they want to do. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that it's okay to have just a very loose plan? How much of that plan should be laid out beforehand? How much should you have thought out beforehand versus let's make it a little bit more malleable?
So in what I'm trying to accomplish, it's going to have to be a pretty concrete plan, just
Mm-hmm.
because it's action oriented. Investors for the most part are not getting into it to just talk about it. Some of them are, and they like the free socials with the free alcohol and the free food, and they're there to socialize. But for the people who are really trying to get into it and create passive income or help grow their asset base, so when they are in retirement, they're able to do what they love without having to work to make money, but they can have some of those assets that are income generating without them having to be in it every day. There's some definite action steps, and so we, part of that vision. So you cast that vision first, and then it becomes very action oriented, in my opinion. It's like, hey, so somebody comes in, they want to do fix and flip, right? So one, they may need to find money. How are they going to get that money? Well, they go to this lender. This is a specific lender that's part of this program. Obviously, we can, they know that there are other lenders out there, but this is who we do business with. This is the way they do business. This is why we do business with them. You go there first. Now you go to you want to make sure you look at these different things when you're looking at a home. It's kind of sight unseen. These are the red flags. So you just kind of iron it out, and we almost create a step by step. And so it's, hey, once they're done with you, you refer them back here, and it's just a circle of who gets that referral. So in my example, I do think it's going to be very action oriented with a plan. Otherwise, it just becomes another referral partner, and I don't want this to be a referral partnership. I want this to be a true collaboration where we're trying to accomplish the same goal. We each want to represent our industry well in the real estate investor space. So um, now sometimes you have to have that first deal because people won't buy in until it begins,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's where I think in your example, a lot of people are like, hey, let's collaborate. Great, let's do it. Now, until there's a deal where you need to collaborate, they're not planning for that. And so I would say, I would stick to your guns and be like, hey, what does that look like? Really dive into that and say, okay, what are you going to do to help make this collaboration work? And what am I going to do to make this collaboration work? Um, so yeah, I think there definitely needs to be some steps. Otherwise, it becomes all theory and all talk, and what you end up doing is you're wasting 2 hours a month talking about what if,
Yeah.
rather than, hey, let's do. So yeah,
I had a moment where that with a photographer where, we were talking a lot, but there just wasn't things that were clicking, and honestly, just weren't generating the client base that we were looking for, and so just
yeah,
in the end, it didn't really work out, and it just almost felt like it would have been better if we were just referral partners, because maybe it kind of even damaged our relationship because it seemed like things weren't really working out the way that we
yeah.
wanted them to. So I guess that kind of brings an interesting point. What do you think is the difference between collaborating with someone and referring, like having a referral partner?
It's a great question. That's a really good question, and it's probably tough to delineate. I think for me, it is, again, going back to the word of turnkey, a referral partner. So somebody comes to me and they're like, Duncan, man, I am trying, and we're just talking, right? And they're like, in my business, I'm great at attracting customers, but getting them to really buy into my vision and want to stay. My business is struggling with that. I'm like, oh man, I know a guy. His name is Brandon with Breacher Media. So here, let me give him your number. That's a referral. We haven't collaborated, um, but that is a referral. Whereas a turnkey solution is kind of a one-stop shop. Like, you don't have to go anywhere else. We are, um, and again, I haven't talked to those people for all of our visions to come together to work out all the details. And going back to something you said earlier about, do you have a plan? So I think it's important to have a plan. The one thing that I think you can do is plan too much,
Hmm.
and you're constantly planning and not doing, and so you never actually get anything done because you're always planning. Oh, it's not perfect. No, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to go, because as the money starts coming, the kinks will work themselves out, to an extent.
Yeah.
Obviously you want to be professional and prepared, but I think as that ball starts rolling, it's going to pick up momentum, and then all the details will work themselves out. But so that's where I think the distinction is for me, and the way I'm looking at it is truly a team. You're not the same company, but you're almost branding yourself as such.
Yeah.
Master Networks is a great example. We are referral partners. You're Be True Media. I'm Texas Independent Insurance. We have all these different entrepreneurs or all these different verticals or businesses and that do different things, and we refer each other business because we trust each other. We know our customers are going to be handled correctly, and if they're not, we're going to hear about it and we're going to give that feedback.
Mm-hmm.
The collaboration is more of like, no, we are a unified front trying to solve a problem or provide a solution.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I actually, on the note of like planning too much, I had that problem. I think that might have been the biggest problem that me and
yeah.
my photographer friend had. We're figuring out, what every solution would be like in different scenarios. And I think the biggest thing that we were trying to figure out is, well, what if I bring in a client and and they need photography? What would I how would I bring him in on the project, or how would he bring me into the project? What would it look like tax wise? Are we going to white label each other? And actually, I'm kind of interested. Are you guys planning on white labeling each other when it comes? Like,
I haven't even. I'm not to that point yet.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, and again, so let me say this. You said you were kind of more of the like, hey, let's plan down to every detail. I'm probably the opposite end of the spectrum, and I think you need both
Mm-hmm.
because the people who want to plan to every detail, a lot of times, nothing ever happens. If you go with somebody who just kind of shoots from the hip all the time, you're going to get a lot accomplished, but fail a lot along the way. And so there needs to be balance. And so it's good to have both and kind of balance each other out. That say, have we widely? I don't know. Again, I don't know how exactly that's going to work because I don't want this to all be my plan. I want it to be a part of their plan as well. But ultimately, in that turnkey operation, right? So in the real estate world, the things that are critical. If you're a real estate investor and you know nothing about real estate, well, you need somebody who's a contractor who's going to be who's going to be able to fix the property and do those kind of things. You're going to need a CPA to help you structure the business correctly so that you are minimizing the potential tax hit, so that you're working within the law to minimize your taxes. You're going to need probably a real estate investor friendly agent. So and so you're going to have that. So in all these teams, I hope when you bring somebody in turnkey, they're all benefiting from it. And so but yes, eventually I would like to see it to where it's kind of one umbrella, one company, with different parts. I mean, that's the long-term vision. I would love to see it as one company where, 4 partners, 5 partners. That would probably be the end goal. But again, I don't know how that would fit with everybody's business model. So in my opinion, I think that's farther down the road. Once we get there, that would be something to figure out. But I'm more interested in, hey, how can we get people in where we provide value and help them, one, learn how to do real estate correctly, and do it in a way that, one, brings up that industry. From the insurance world, they know how to do it correctly. That real estate investors are doing it correctly, so that it doesn't give agents, in essence, or insurance people a bad name because they did it incorrectly. Or if you're in the construction world, are they doing it the right way but also investor friendly? So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully all of you guys out there have gotten a lot of good information out of this. I know that I'm testing what it means to collaborate with other people, because I know there's going to be opportunities out there that there could be really good collaboration partners. Or it could just be that I'm fine just doing my own thing and maybe just hiring people out whenever I need to. I just kind of, I'm still figuring out myself what would be the right solution for me. But it sounds like Duncan, you have a pretty decent grasp of where you want to go, and I think, I mean, I would want an update on how things turn out. I mean, this is going to be a journey for you. I want to see.
It is.
We're kind of understanding what's happening before. I'd like to see what happens after, when things start clicking.
Well, let me, hopefully, 6 months is kind of my goal of when it'll all come together, hopefully sooner, but 6 months, and then by the end of the year, I really wanted to be fully clicking. So we'll need to touch base and see how it all, here we are talking theory, how did it actually come out on the back end. So
well, we have it on video now, so you have to there's your deadline. You're committed to it.
I just committed to it.
Oh no. So. Anyway, well, my name is Brandon with Be True Media. If you want to check out our website, you can visit our website at betruemedia.com. Duncan, where can we find your info at?
Yeah, so if you want to call me directly, just go to dallasinsuranceadvisor.com, and it'll give you access to my phone, my cell, my email, and all that information as well.
Perfect. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the other side of the camera.